Here we are inside our showroom in Irvine Spectrum. I just want to go over and ask a couple questions. I mean, I'm well aware that you have put probably the most amount of miles on your VF8 so far. So just share a little bit about the back history and how your ownership's been since.
Yeah, so I drove just now. I drove over 10,000 miles
Oh, wow.
on the VF8, and I believe it's the most that anyone has ever driven in the U.S. only. Okay, so it's a long journey. I have a challenge for myself to drive to all national parks in the U.S. and I've done like 10 so far. So
Oh,
I have
wow.
like around like 40 or less to go. In the contiguous states only, not Hawaii. I cannot drive to Hawaii, right?
You had mentioned that you have about 10,000 miles on your car, and with the VF8 City Edition, it was only available for leasing. Were there any concerns about going over mileage, the annual mileage allowance?
Yes, you have to pay the extra fees when you go over. So after 2 years, I believe they only give you like 20,000 miles for 2 years, more or less. So I plan to get my VF9 before my 20,000 miles hits the mark, right? So I plan out already, right? So when you guys have the VF9, I plan to purchase that. Of course, finance not pay off right away.
And you had mentioned you had goals of visiting all the national parks within the states. What made you think about conquering such a feat, I guess?
I own a Tesla. I've been driving it for over 6 or 7 years now. When I first, before I got it, I read online a lot of research and stuff, and I saw a few guys doing like a lot of miles driven. He was like one of the first to have done that, like in Germany or in some other country too. And I was like, wow, I wish I could do that, but it was too expensive. You know, Tesla way back then it's more expensive than it is right now. So it's not within reach for a lot of customers. It was not for me. But now I have a chance to, the VF8 is more affordable. Right now it's leasing too. VF9 is even more affordable than the Tesla back then. So I want to do something just like the other guys did before with Tesla, but I had not a chance to do it. I didn't get a chance to do that. So right now I try to do something different, to be the first to do something different with my VF8, trying to be the first, maybe American, to drive in the Vietnamese EV to go all over the US, not just the national park, maybe all the states too.
Oh, wow.
48 states. That's the second challenge. And not right now, okay, but right now my first challenge for myself is the national parks.
Awesome. Well, thank you for sharing that. And as far as when it comes to planning these road trips, what are some challenges or disadvantages of potentially doing it in an EV, whether it was in the VF8 or the Tesla?
That's not my advice to everyone else, because some ladies say, oh, that's not for me. I feel my safety and stuff like that. But I'm a guy, so more or less, I guess it's okay. But I usually go at night and over the weekends because I work in the weekdays. I cannot drive, I cannot do stuff. So I try to hit the park in the weekend. And the charging is you have to plan with an app. We have like a bunch of apps, but one good one that I use is PlugShare. It has all the charging station of every single company in there. So you can just swipe it and you see all the spots that you need to go or where to go. Maybe sometimes they say, oh, this one's taken or this one's not too. Sometimes they say that too. I also use ChargePoint. I also use EV Connect, a bunch of other apps, not just one.
Have you tried our app? The reason why I'm bringing that up is 2 years ago when we actually set to bring the vehicle to the market, we knew that the charging would be a problem. And VinFast went out and actually signed 5 major CPOs: Electrify America, EDGO, Charge Hub, Blink, and Flow. And through our app, through one single app, you actually get access to about 90% of the charging stations. That's something that we're very proud of, and that's something that we really don't advertise enough, in my opinion. So give it a shot and let us know how it works, because As you can imagine, it's integrated with our head unit. So the trip planning feature will give you the charging points along the route. So you can navigate to them as you're making your way to the national park.
So actually, Alex, while we're talking about the charging and the charging network, could you real quickly share to us about what kind of charger we use on the VF8 and the
Sure.
charging capabilities?
Yeah, sure. We're using the standard J1772 charger CCS, so standard charging connector, which gives us access to major charging points. Our charging time is industry standard. We're not behind, we're not the best, but what I would like to encourage the owners is really to study the charging station's availability and capability. Our vehicle, as Hoang said, is very advanced, meaning that it will charge up to higher speeds, but the charging station has to be capable of giving out that energy. So the charging times will vary, and we definitely encourage the owners, to kind of get to know the differences between the energy output that the charging station gives out in order to properly plan the charging times.
Thank you. And talking about charging and during your road trips, I mean, what has your overall experience been charging while in the wild or on the road, and experiences with the different charging networks out there?
But coming to maybe EV Go or Link or Electrify America, sometimes you see the sign say out of order, or some guy even put the word broken or whatever on it. Oh man, you know what? Funny you should talk about charging. One time I went to Canada. I went to I forgot the city's name, but it's somewhere. It's like out of, not in the city.
Yeah.
And there was a power outage. It's like blackout. It's not common, right? But it does happen.
It does happen.
And I did not plan that. How could I plan it?
You can't.
Oh, okay. Today that's gonna be power outage. No, I cannot plan that. Maybe like some tree fell down, whatever, like, and just knocked the power line. You don't know. So like I guess maybe 10 people in the Teslas, like they got stranded, and some guys in regular EV like Kia or Hyundai, stuff like that. We could not charge too, so I was like had like 10% left, and I said, should I go to the next one? What if what if it says power outage too? Then I'm done. I have to go back home because I have to wait for the urgently to come to get me to the next station, which is, it might take 3 hours or 5 hours. That's a lot of time on my hand, right? I cannot lose that time frame because I planned for the trip, and especially when you drive during like Christmas or Labor Day, whatever, you have to plan ahead too. There's gonna be a long line everywhere. I saw that line before, so it's kind of like you have to plan ahead. It's kind of frustrating a little bit, but I believe as time goes on and the U.S. put more charging station, that's what they plan to. We should ease our problem more. I mean, we should feel okay. It's gonna be easier to charge. It's gonna be better. But right now, that's a big issue. Charging infrastructure in the U.S.
Yeah. And one more thing, just to add to that, as a newly converted EV driver, one of the main differences that I noticed in comparison to driving the ICE vehicle is really that as an EV driver, you should drive in that spectrum of 70 to 20%. And just like Hoang said, do not run the EV down below 20% because that's where the discomfort with driving kicks in. So knowing where the next charging station is early enough is going to make the EV ownership that much more pleasant. And just to touch upon, on that charging cycle time, try to maximize that charging range up to 80%, 70, 80%, right? Where you can get to, on a good charging station, you can get to it within an hour.
Yes.
40 minutes to an hour, right? And then that's how EV drivers should drive, right?
Thanks for pointing that out. Yeah. Besides the reason you just mentioned, like 20% to 80%, is because if you let it go way below that, besides the range issue, is the battery life. If it goes too low, that's bad for the health of the battery. So never let it go below 20%, and try not to let it go over 90%, which is also bad for the battery too. And it's going to take you longer to charge. It's going to taper the time longer to charge. So always stay between 20 to 80%. That's the best range for EV, for all EVs, not just any brand. You know what I mean? Not just this brand, but any brand.
All right. Well, thank you for sharing that. So, kind of going back and touching on your journeys and trips that you've taken, I'm sure there's been a lot of memorable moments. Anything that particularly stands out that you've experienced with the VF8?
Yeah. I guess people said the best color of the VF8. Well, I'm trying to be objective, maybe too subjective, but the deep ocean color. Yes. And every time I go to a charging station, not every time, that's not fair if I say that, but most time when I go, some people from like, what brand is this? And it's like, oh, this is a VIN, so I just had a chance to talk. It's a VinFast from Vietnam. So, oh, from Vietnam, really? So I said, yes, it's the first one, the first model they have, with more to come later. But and so they said, how's the driving? I said, it's okay. The software is kind of buggy, so I tell them the truth, Yeah. I always try to be truthful on my channel, on my YouTube channel. So A, B, C, this like that. So I tell them like straight out. I try to be frank. But the driving is okay, and I love the color, the green color. So they say, wow, this is a nice car. Many of them say that. And I saw some guys on Tesla. They took a picture while driving on the freeway of my cars. They went like this. So I saw that too, a few times. And because I guess if you're being objective, it's a beautiful design, right? By Italian designer. So it's not like too radical, and it's not too different. It's kind of like it's as much as you see, in the Italian cars right now. You see similar things in Europe, similar design in Europe and the U.S. too. So they love the design. They love my color, the choice of my of my VF8, and they came over to ask questions. So I would say every time I charge, 50% of the time I charge, people come over and talk about my car. They ask about my car, and I give them all the info they need to go to maybe Irvine and look for it if they have a chance. But I was in like Arizona and Utah, and it's I have to wait there because it's not in their state yet. It's okay, you guys should wait. But yep,
I see.
That's very memorable for me, as I said, drive the VF8.
Yes.
Well, thank you for sharing. And actually, it just hit me. I mean, when he goes on these trips out of state, can you, Alex, maybe touch up on real quick, what if something were to happen? Do we have roadside assistance coverage out there, and response?
Yes. We do have roadside assistance program available to our customers 24/7, and that's covered by our really good business partner, Urgently. And Urgently runs a nice network of roadside assistance carriers that work with our service centers and our mobile technicians in case of an unfortunate incident where the vehicle has to be serviced on the spot. So our customers should feel at ease in terms of the service providers and roadside assistance. We're good. We're solid in that aspect.
All right, thank you for sharing. Mm-hmm. And when going back to these longer drives, how has your experience been using our advanced driver's assistance systems, if you do or have used it?
I almost always try to use ADAS feature as I drive because sometimes, on a long drive like mine, you get tired, right? You can't just hold it all the time. So ADAS has been very cooperative, at least for me when I drove. Sometimes there's an error here and there, and then just it resets, and you have to re-push the button again. But most of the time, it's very helpful for me to drive 10,000 miles and use it for like maybe 9,000 miles. Yeah, most of the time, I just press it and then just hold on to the steering wheel, and if something happens, I just overtake it right away, because as you know, our system right now are just level 2, at most level 3. It's nowhere near like full automatic yet. So you always have to be prepared to take over. Even if I may talk about it, with Tesla, they say full self-driving, but it's actually not. So the government of the US and maybe in Europe, they're trying to talk to Tesla about not to be misleading the customer with that kind of verbiage, full self-driving, which a normal customer would say, oh, autopilot, so I don't have to do anything. No, that's wrong. That's very wrong. Don't believe in all the bad stuff, all the good stuff that you hear. You have to, dig in and find out the truth. So I dig in. So I try to present the truth on my channel.
That's awesome. Yeah.
And that's what I've been doing and will always do. I don't want to go on one side, on one side only, or the other side. I try to stay in between. And that's what I've always been doing.
Awesome. Well, you had also talked about how some pains and also some issues. Now, if I could lead that into maybe talking about the recall that was just recently issued on the VF8s. How are we taking care of that? And if you wouldn't mind just commenting a little bit on that.
Sure. Even though it's not a popular automotive industry terminology or occurrence, when recall does happen, a lot of it is kind of like determined on how does company respond to the detected issue and how do they deal with it. And I must tell you guys that I'm really proud of how VinFast detected the issue and the speed that we addressed it, and also with top management commitment to executing the best and the fastest solution to our customers. So recalls are part of the industry, unfortunately, and EVs in particular, when it comes to software integration with hardware, this is something that happened already on previous OEMs, so we were not immune to it, head unit going black. What we've done is we developed a software patch, we developed a software fix, and out of abundance of caution, we proceeded with the recall per NHTSA guideline. With that in mind, I would really like to compliment the internal teams as well as NHTSA team, who guided us through this process as a new OEM, and we were able to execute according to the standards and within the timelines that NHTSA imposes on an OEM. The fix is new software. We're asking owners of our vehicles to give us a call, to schedule an appointment with us, and then what we do is we do a reflash in our service shop in order to ensure the proper software installation.
All right. Well, thank you very much, and I appreciate you guys joining this discussion. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.